Sure, one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal! Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me! That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. A very good afternoon. Welcome to Premier League Live for our double header of action this Sunday of watch-alongs, and a huge one to start the day at the Stadium of Light. Newly promoted Sunderland, who are probably chasing European football if they come away with 3 points today, but a Spurs side who are now finding themselves in the bottom three for the first time in 17 years for Spurs, and a realistic possibility that they are in a massive fight to stay in the Premier League. 3 games kicking off at 2 o'clock, including that Spurs Sunderland game at the Stadium of Lights. Nottingham Forest host Aston Villa. Forest still fighting for their lives round the bottom. Aston Villa still battling for those top 5 places. They're 4th and a chance to go above Man United before United play tomorrow night. That's a huge opportunity for Villa. And of course, Crystal Palace taking on Newcastle. Two sides languishing in mid-table, but with a win could kickstart themselves into a chase for Europe of their own. They're 13th and 14th respectively starting the day, but could be chasing the top half. And with the tightness of the table and points, it could be anywhere when it comes to a fight for Europe. But before we get into all of that, let's talk about what a Premier League weekend it has been so far. And starting with Friday night, what a result for West Ham United to take them out of the relegation zone. 4-0 winners over Wolves to start the weekend. It put Spurs into the bottom three, into the relegation zone, that victory for the Hammers. And Spurs looking to escape that this afternoon. A thumping win for Nuno Espirito Santo's side against his former team, of course, in Wolves on Friday night at the London Stadium. Even bigger news yesterday lunchtime when Bournemouth went to the Emirates and won. Only the second side to win as an away team at the Emirates this season. Man United the other, and a huge result for Bournemouth. 12 unbeaten now in the league, Bournemouth. But Arsenal and their title hopes could be crumbling once again. 3 defeats in the last 4 games in all competitions means is Arsenal's season coming crumbling down at the very wrong end of it, and seemingly so with that result yesterday. Only a penalty was their only shot on target of the first half against Bournemouth in a lacklustre performance from Mikel Arteta's side. A big draw for Brentford against Everton as well, both sides chasing top 6, but they are just both sides outside of it. 7th Brentford, 8th Everton, but only a point or 2 away from the top 6 spots that Chelsea occupy. And Burnley beaten again, the only home side not to score across the weekend so far. Brighton winning 2-0 away at Burnley. It's now 5 wins and 6 for Brighton. And for Liverpool, a return to winning ways for them after some pretty damaging results as of recently in that midweek defeat to PSG, but a good win for them against Fulham. 2 first half goals, Rio Ungamoa and Mo Salah with the goals in the first period to give Arne Slot's side a much needed victory, and it creates a gap to those teams below them after this was the week that English football was confirmed to getting 5 spots in the Champions League next season. Liverpool occupy 5th, and it's a 4-point gap down to Chelsea in 6th. A lot has already happened across the Premier League weekend so far, but 5 games still to come, 3 kicking off at 2 o'clock, 1 at 4:30 where Chelsea take on a Manchester City side looking to capitalise on Arsenal's misfirings yesterday. And on Monday night we conclude with Man United against Leeds or at Old Trafford. But to this afternoon's games, 3 2 o'clock kickoffs, and we start, of course, here at Sunderland. A Sunderland side who've been probably the best big surprise this season, and they have a chance to catapult themselves into a European battle if they can win. But a Spurs side who, as I've said, in the relegation zone, as you can see there, finding themselves 2 points from safety, and albeit if they win today, could jump up to 15th, Spurs. And Roberto De Zerbi in charge, looking to take a massive charge in getting them out of the relegation zone, and the great escape for Spurs. Who'd have thought we'd be saying that? Let's have a look at the 2 teams then, and starting with Sunderland, Robin Roofs starts in goal, a back 4 of O'Nien, Mukiele, Alderete and Reynildo. Granit Xhaka, of course, the former Arsenal captain. He captains Sunderland today alongside Siddiqui in midfield, Diarra in the 10, Le Fay on the left, Rigg on the right, and Brian Brobby through the middle. On the bench for Regis Labrisa's side, Elborg, Serkin, Gertrude, Hume, Jensen Jones and Harrison Jones, Talbi, Mayenda and Isidore. But for Spurs, Antonin Kinski is in goal. Of course, no Vicario today. He is out. So, Kinski in goal. A pack 4 of Porro, Romero, Van de Ven and Udogi. A much stronger looking Spurs defence. Archie Gray in midfield alongside Conor Gallagher and Lucas Bergvall. And a front 3, a very kind of centre forward looking front 3. Rando Kolomuani, Richarlison and Dominic Solanke. 3 usual centre forwards playing across the front 3 for Spurs. So lots of attacking threat there, and they need it. On the bench for the Zerbi side, Austin, Dragoshin, Danzo, Spence, Palhinha, Simons, Bissouma, Sarr and Tell. A much more healthy looking Spurs side, but they're in desperate need of points. The bottom 3 for the first time since 2009, And they take on a Sunderland side who've been almost impeccable at home this season. But what can Spurs do on the road? Well, they haven't been awful, but they certainly haven't been great either. Roberto De Zerbi, the new man in charge, can he complete the great escape and make sure Spurs are here in the Premier League next season? Kick-off and the 3 2-o'clockers is on the way next. A very good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us this Sunday afternoon. Sunderland against Spurs to get us underway. Spurs in their away strip of yellow with navy trimmings, and Sunderland, of course, in their home strip of red and white shirts and black shorts. So, well, we knew what was on the line coming into this one. Spurs certainly knew that really a lot of damage had been done. And with that defeat, that damaging defeat at home to Forest before the international break, before the last few weeks has unfolded, they knew that the next time they play could be in the bottom three. Well, that's where they find themselves. A draw wouldn't even be enough to get them out of that today. Only a win would be enough to get them out of the bottom three. And that is a huge task for Spurs, especially here, as I said, at Sunderland, who've been an incredible force when the Stadium of Light is rocking. It is an unbelievable challenge for any away team. As I said, Spurs look a little healthier today. More usual places and more usual positions. And a stronger bench. One of the big worries will be the goalkeeper, of course, Vicario, who really hasn't covered himself in glory previously. Neither has Antonin Kinski. Spurs look to move it down the left here with Richarlison. Trying to angle one in behind right away for Solanke, who cuts it back across, and Sunderland with a bit of last-ditch defending, trying to get a clear as Porro shoots right down Robin Roof's throat there. But again, lovely ball through the lines here by Spurs. It's off this left-hand side. Richarlison played it in behind. Bergvall made the run. Solanke got on the end of it, and it was cut back across just ahead of Bergvall. Sunderland just scraping it away, and then it drops to Porro on the edge of the box, who shoots, trying to find that top corner. Robin Roofs comfortably gathers, but an early incentive from Spurs, and a sign of what's to come. They hope anyway, certainly. So here comes Sunderland, win the ball back. Diarra's cross towards Brobby, but cleared away by Romero. And the ball dropping a little loosely at the back there for Sunderland, and now Richarlison's got on the end of it here. But the ball through is mopped up by Alderete, and Roofs is there to claim once again. We're underway, obviously, in the other games at Sellers Park between Crystal Palace and Newcastle, and Nottingham Forest against Aston Villa at the City Ground. Of course, Forest in a relegation battle too. Villa in the top 5, and Palace and Newcastle in the midst, in mid-table. A win for Palace today would surely guarantee any lingering doubts that they might be dragged into this relegation battle. They're on 39 points, Palace. Of course, West Ham, who won against Wolves, are on to 32. It's not a major gap. And if they win today, they'll be stay clear of that, maybe looking up the table. That's a lovely move by Brobby here for Sunderland. Spurs retrieve everybody back, and ball fed back to Xhaka. Cross now to Siddiqui. Rig. Giving it back to Luko 9, who hands it across to Alderete. Now Reynildo. Because of Sunderland side, who plucked a draw out of their first ever trip to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the reverse fixture. A 1-1 draw earlier in the season. Ben Davies was the one who gave Spurs the lead in that one in the first half, and Brian Brobby with a late equaliser on 80 minutes. And a game Sunderland probably could have won late in that game against Thomas Frank's Spurs. Seems like a long time ago. albeit in terms of Premier League games, that was only 12 games ago. Match day 20 of the season, back on the 4th of January. And it does feel like, certainly for Spurs, a couple of lifetimes ago that Thomas Frank was in charge. Here's Randall Caoimhan picking it up in between the lines here, finding Richarlison, who kind of just swept at it, very little pace behind it there from Richarlison. And right down the throat of Roofs again. Again, Randall Caoimhan picks it up in a good space here, finds the gaps in the Sunderland press, and he just rolls it across to Richarlison, free at the back post, and he just didn't get enough pace on it. Richarlison just kind of directed it towards goal rather than anything else. Easy enough for the Sunderland goalkeeper. That's nice interchange of play by Sunderland here as Brobby spreads it wide to the right. Fed into Diarra. Diarra trying to cut it across and blocked in there by the Spurs captain Christian Romero. Behind for a Sunderland corner. Well, they are tricky, these Sunderland players in between the lines. They made it work there. Really tight area in the middle, and Brobby spread it out wide to get the attack in motion. Now they have a corner. Enzo Lefebvre is over it. That's right hand side for Sunderland. Well, Enzo Lefebvre was over it, but Granit Xhaka's overruled him. And Granit Xhaka's going to come over and take it. As the armband for Sunderland today, Granit Xhaka has been one of the leading figures in where they've ended up this season and how well they've performed this season, Sunderland. Left-footed delivery by Xhaka, right on Kinski, who had to force it behind. Great delivery by Granit Xhaka. Antonin Kinski was inside his own goal trying to make that save. Threw a right hand at it to parry it over the crossbar. Very, very dangerous corner. And Kinski didn't take any risks. Another Sunderland corner, this time in the opposite side, of which Lefebvre will take. Lefebvre deep to the back post, headed away, only to the edge of the box where Rigg miscued. And they try and break on the counter there, Spurs, but Caoimhan was out-muscled. And Alderete again mopping up. It's hoofed up the field. And Sunderland can take it down. We play on here, Reynildo down the left to Enzo Lefebvre. Waiting for the overlap, and Lefebvre too narrow a ball that in behind. Well, Randall Caoimhan stayed down. So the referee may have to come and check upon Randall Caoimhan, as we see here with that challenge by Siddiqui. Maybe just caught him late, but the ball was already well gone. It's a strong challenge by Noah Siddiqui, but it's not a foul. A painful one for Randall Caoimhan, I'm sure, but there's not much you can really do with that if you're the referee. Caoimhan is up and okay. As I said, it's kind of almost unbelievable the position Spurs find themselves in coming into this weekend, knowing that really their Premier League status that's been ever present. Remember, they're one of 6 teams to never be relegated from the Premier League since its introduction in 1992. They're one of only 6 sides that have featured in every single Premier League season. It shows you how big it would be if they were to be relegated, Spurs. You know, albeit maybe not recently had the successes of an Arsenal or a Liverpool or a Chelsea, etc., etc., but in that conversation as one of those teams that are almost embedded in the fabric of the Premier League. To have them in this position. Here come Brobby. Brobby trying to hold off a defender, and in the process Archie Gray was there to steal it away from the feet of Brian Brobby. But they're pushing more here, Sunderland. And Spurs looking a little bit more vulnerable here. Ball played into Brobby and Romero just holding him off, trying to get something to it. And Archie Gray's just there to steal it away from Brian Brobby's feet. Helping out defensively there, Archie Gray, who's played every role there is to play in this Spurs team over the last few months with the cavalcade of injuries that Spurs have had. Archie Gray's been the ultimate plug-and-play player. Any position in the team, and he's at least played a couple of minutes there. Probably bar goalkeeper, obviously. Romero. 10 minutes gone, and it's an interesting start to the game that we've kind of seen here unfold. Spurs with one or two early chances of their own, but Sunderland starting to get Brian Brobby into the game. A major threat, as we know. Now Spurs should know. Randall Caoimhan trying to link it up down the right. Picked up by Bergvall, but seen out of play by Enzo Lefebvre. Right for the Spurs throw. One thing, Roberto De Zerbi constantly shouting instructions to his players. Of course, only in the door at the end of March. Hasn't had surely the time that he would have wanted, but as much time as he probably was going to get, Roberto De Zerbi, to try and get into on the training ground and implement as much as he can before his first game in charge today, and see what they can produce, Spurs. As we know, 7 games between them and the end of the season for Roberto De Zerbi to try and get as much out of this team as possible. Remember, they're still without a win in 2026 in the league. And there's a stat I read, actually. They are the worst team in 3 different form tables. They're the most out-of-form team in the last 5 games, the most out-of-form team in the last 10 games, and the most out-of-form team in the last 15 Premier League games at Spurs. They have been by far the worst Premier League side this side of Christmas. And even probably before Christmas too, they've picked up less points than anyone else in that run. 1 point in the last 5, which is level with Burnley, to be fair, but I mean, it shows you how bad this run has been for Spurs, that they're bottom of the form table on 3 different metrics. Well, they have a free kick here. Pedro Porro is the one that's over it. It's right round the back, and far too much on that one, Pedro Porro. Straight out of play for a goal kick. Wasteful delivery, that, from Pedro Porro, one of the key creative forces of this Spurs team. Will be called upon on a few occasions today. Pedro Porro, I'm sure, try and make the difference, but couldn't make the difference from that set piece there. Bergvall loosely giving it away in midfield. Picked up by Siddiqui. Xhaka evading pressure. Has the referee in his way, but the referee says play on. And now he is going to pull it back for a foul. And referee this afternoon, Rob Jones. And he did kind of get in the way there, Granit Xhaka. And he was being pulled. And he does eventually pull it back for a free kick, does the referee, Rob Jones. VAR today as well is James Bell. Free kick here to Sunderland then. Around about 20, just over 30 yards out. Slightly to the left. There's Xhaka trying to fizz one. Clip to the head of a Spurs player on the edge of the box there, but fed back in by Alderete. Good swing on it, but too close to Kinski. Easily recovered by the Spurs goalkeeper. Ooh, playing around the edge of the box there, and that was a heavy touch by Gallagher. He just got away with it, but it's enticed the Sunderland press, and a little bit too much there, as Christian Romero was caught by Brian Brobby. Too eager to get to the ball. Still goalless in those two other games around the grounds between Crystal Palace and Newcastle, and Forest and Villa in what are huge games as well. Yeah, it's a little bit silly there from Brian Brobby. Wants to get to the ball, but the ball was well gone by the time he got anywhere near Christian Romero. There's no doubt Spurs, I mean, it's obvious to say, but they're a team you can definitely get at. It's all about being smart from Sunderland's point of view and trying to kind of engage that press at the right time against Spurs. You get it right, you can really threaten this Spurs defence. Romero back to Van der Ven. 16 minutes in, still goalless here at the Stadium of Light. Not much goal-mouth action in terms of big chances. No two opportunities at either end, but nothing too major. But here comes Sunderland again. Nice play between the midfielders as Lefay tries to measure one to Brobby. Brobby, who almost snatched on the end of that one. See it here. It's Lefay down this left-hand side, and Romero doesn't know whether to get involved or not, and then he tries to back heel it. Bizarre little decision from the defender. He actually then kicks it in behind his own defence. And Brobby was ready to latch onto it. Luckily it dropped for Kinski quicker. Dangerous bit of defending there from the Spurs captain. Could have cost his team massively. Bit of a let off there for Spurs, but more signs that Sunderland are growing into the game and certainly find their danger man a lot more frequently now. Xhaka down the left to Siddiqui, who's gone wide. Siddiqui has to come back in field to Habib Diarra. Then switches out to the left for Lefay. Xhaka. Sea of yellow shirts in the way. Diarra. Luko 9 down the right side. Way through there for Mukiele as he has to give it back to Alderete. Sunderland build again, but in the Spurs half, crucially. Reynildo, Lefay, back to Reynildo. Nice play by Sunderland. Reynildo finds the space for Lefay, who lifts it across, and the header is over the crossbar by Brobby. Big chance. Again, really good combination play between Reynildo and Lefay down this left-hand side. Really nicely worked. It's Reynildo, just the step over and then fed it in behind for Lefay, who made the run on the inside. As he got to the byline, clips it back across, and Brian Brobby launches himself head and shoulders above Mickey van der Ven. And he just couldn't keep the header down. Over the crossbar it goes, but a first real big chance in front of the goal for Brian Brobby. I said has been slowly growing into the game. He has his first chance of the day. Brian Brobby, 6 Premier League goals this season. All of his goals for Sunderland this season have come in the Premier League. And he did score in his last game for the Black Cats in the Premier League, and that was, of course, the Townweir derby at St James's Park, where he, of course, scored that late winner. A whip ball in from Sunderland this time, skied over the top and out the other end. And Mukiele with the cross. Brian Brobby always gets involved in key goals. Always pops up with the important ones. For Sunderland, he scored in a 2-2 draw with Arsenal here. He scored in a 3-2 win over Bournemouth here. Scored, of course, in the 1-1 draw with Spurs earlier in the season. 2-1 win over Palace. He did score, however, in a 3-1 defeat to West Ham. And then a 2-1 win over Newcastle. And Spurs, a bit of pressure here. What's the referee given here? Is he given a penalty? I don't know what the referee... I mean, he's doing hand signals galore here. You think he's doing a sign language competition, the referee. I don't know what he's signalled here. I think he's given a penalty. I don't know what for. See it again. Is Luke O'Nien... Oh. Does Luke O'Nien take Randall Colomwani out? That looks soft to me. Ah, no, there's nothing in that. And Alderete makes more contact, but I don't think Luke O'Nien does anything wrong there. Well, the referee has given a penalty, we can't tell you that, but yeah, no, Randall Colomwani actually clips into Alderete, so he takes himself down. I think that's really harsh to give a penalty there. Not really harsh, just wrong. He did point to the spot, the referee. I mean, he pointed to the spot and then pointed as if he was given a goal kick instead. Very confusing, but penalty he has given. And VAR James Bell is having another look. And I think the referee is going to have another look at this, because I think he should, because I don't think it's a penalty. I don't know what he thinks he's seen, Rob Jones, but whatever it is, I think he'll have another look. Maybe reassess this decision, because Randall Colomwani kind of steps on Alderete and he trips himself up. Luke O'Nien does come in sliding, but he doesn't make enough contact, I think, to cause a penalty. And Randall Colomwani was already going over before O'Nien even was anywhere involved. So, I mean, it's a complete and utter mess, whatever it is, but it's not a penalty. And the VAR suggesting such as that Colomwani was already going down before any contact was made by a Sunderland player. And the decision, after he has a look at the screen, is no penalty. Overturns his initial decision, Rob Jones, who pointed to the spot, but the VAR told him to have another look, and he overturns that decision. The referee has to announce his decision, doesn't he? Well, he's just told us that it's no penalty, basically. And I think that's the correct decision. I think it would have been incredibly harsh to give a penalty there. Alderete does nothing wrong, and then O'Nien, yes, a little clumsy coming flying in, but he kind of doesn't make enough contact, really, to take Randall Colomwani out, who was already, as I said, heading to the ground before any contact was made. While all that was happening, there's been a goal at the City Ground between Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa. Aston Villa chasing top 5 and looking to really keep a hold of 4th place and push up to 3rd. They would go above Manchester United with a win today, Aston Villa. And Nottingham Forest looking to really bridge the gap between them and the bottom 3. Well, they are losing, Forest. It is 1-0 to Aston Villa. And an own goal by Murillo has given Villa their lead. So it is Nottingham Forest 0, Aston Villa 1. And that is a huge goal for Villa on the road. And a win, as I said, would take them above United before Man United play tomorrow night at Old Trafford against Leeds. Villa will be on 57 points, Man United on 55, and then further back Liverpool on 52. Making up the 3rd to 5th place positions, those three. And Villa jumping back up to 3rd as it stands. Here's Destiny Udogie for Spurs. 25 minutes gone here at the Stadium of Light. Still goalless. A bit of a delay, of course, with that VAR check for that penalty that was given on the field by Rob Jones, the referee, but overturned after another look at it. And Spurs will have a corner here. Mukiele with the block on Udogie's cross. Spurs corner. Be their first corner of the game for Spurs. They are fruitful from corners. 14 goals from corners this season, Spurs. Only Arsenal have scored more. And if there's ever a time to find the net from one of these sort of positions, it's now. Porro to take this corner. Left side. Right-footed delivery, swung into the 6-yard area, and Alderete gets his header away. Picked up by Romero in the right channel. Gallagher evading challenges, cross it back in, header by Richarlison, drop down for Solanke, who couldn't get his feet right, and it ends up falling into the path of Robin Roofs in the Sunderland goal. Again, nicely held up by Romero, and then Gallagher ticks on a man, swings one in. Richarlison's header down to the ground, drops for Solanke, who, as I said, just couldn't get his feet in the right order. Ultimately evades the Spurs man. Oh, what a touch that was from Diarra as they keep it going. Flipped over the top here for Sunderland. Diarra's on the end of it, but Romero's got there first. And I think the flag was up anyway, was it? No, actually, no, there's going to be a yellow card handed out to Christian Romero for a crazy challenge beforehand here on Brobby. Yeah, comes flying in, and it's clipped over the top by Mukiele. And it kept Sunderland's attack going, and the referee did play advantage well there. But Christian Romero gets himself a booking. His 9th yellow card of the season for the Spurs captain. He's not a stranger to yellow or red cards really this season. Another yellow card in the campaign. We'll see him lose. We'll see him get a 2-match ban, of course, when you get to 10 yellow cards. Free kick here for Sunderland. Lefay and Xhaka over it. Very stop-start first half here at the Stadium of Light, but a goal could certainly change the way things go. Lefay's delivery, deep, header is wide. Mukiele with the header, couldn't direct it back across goal from the back post. I mean, there's about 4 or 5 Sunderland players there at the back post, all lining up, and it's Mukiele that makes contact, and he just kind of heads it in front of him, really. It's directly in front of him, can't get it back across goal. Completely wrong technique. Again, that's 2 big chances from crosses that Sunderland have had. Brobby's over the crossbar, Mukiele's wide, but they haven't taken. Bergvall does well to link it up with Richarlison down the left here for Spurs. Nicely cut out though by Xhaka. In wrestling was Mukiele. Sunderland just kept the ball. Now they lose it, and now they win it back and get a free kick as well, as Bergvall wrestling Diarra to the ground. Yeah, very scrappy at times this game. Now Sunderland are looking to avoid defeat in both Premier League meetings with Spurs in a single season for the first time since 2008-2009, which drew the reverse fixture 1-1. However though, Spurs are unbeaten in the last 15 Premier League games against Sunderland. 1-10 and drawn 5 since a 3-1 defeat in April 2010. Last time they lost to Sunderland in the Premier League. Granit Xhaka. Out to the left. Siddiqui. Back to Diarra. Just moving it nicer. Sunderland, they've controlled the possession. Diarra. No rush for Sunderland. Diarra down the left side to Lafay. Jinks past his man. Still going down the left channel. Siddiqui. Back to Diarra. Feints one into Xhaka's path, who had his through ball deflected out for a throw. They try and break this Spurs team down. Sunderland will have a throw in on the left side, and I think they might go long here because look, O'Nine's coming across. He is. A long throw could be coming here as the substitutes doing their warm-ups on the sideline watch on of both teams. Luke O'Nine to deliver this launching throw. Headed away at the front post, drops to the back post, and the strike is wide by Xhaka. Huge opportunity. Fabulous strike by Xhaka. O'Nine's delivery with the throw in. It's headed away by Spurs at the front post, but it just drops the edge of the box for Xhaka, who connects so sweetly onto the end of the ball. It's just wide of the left post. They're starting to build a head of steam here, Sunderland. They've had the best of the chances so far, but as I said, to this point, haven't taken them. Try and do a bit of cuteness there between the lines. Oh, again, terrible defended by Porro there as Brobbey had enough of him. And it looks like there was an arm involved by Brian Brobbey, trying to shake off Pedro Porro. And Brian Brobbey lost his cool a little bit there, but I mean, Porro was dragging him back, but I mean, Brian Brobbey does kind of swing an arm at him. Whether he made contact or not is another question, but the referee's going to give a yellow card here to Brian Brobbey, just for a bit. It's too aggressive, really. No real need. I mean, he's being pulled and hauled at, but oh yeah, he kind of grabs his shirt and then throws him back. Pedro Porro, he doesn't. Yeah, it's just a bit unnecessary, really, from Brian Brobbey. You get the free kick, you take it. In the end, it's going the other way, and he gets a yellow card. I mean, it's one of those ones where you just be patient. If you can't get away from the man, the free kick will come. You're being held on to, but just tried to take matters into his own hands there, Brian Brobbey, and ultimately got too forceful against Pedro Porro. Spurs get the free kick and a yellow card for Brian Brobbey, but they got away with one there. It was shocking defended by Porro initially. Definitely got away with that, Spurs. Launch into the air, a bit of defending there from Luke O'Nine, but straight into the stands. So far, just the one goal from the 3 2 o'clock games in the Premier League this afternoon. Aston Villa with the only goal of the game, and it was an own goal from Murillo. And has Nottingham Forest behind, still goalless at Sellers Park and still goalless here at the Stadium of Lights. The doggy plays it on to Richarlison, who swings one in for Bergvall, but 9 was on the end of that to clear it. As was Mukiele as Sunderland try and build on the counter. Diarra picks it up deep here to Siddiqui. 9 to Mukiele. Angles it back in field. Lovely control by Diarra to lay it off to Chris Rigg. Rigg to Brobby. And Brobby, no way through there, is he? Wanted a foul on Diarra, Sunderland, but referee said no. So now here comes Spurs. Solanke waited his chance. Shot from outside the box. Blocked and retrieved by Sunderland again. Little 1-2s there between Brobby and Siddiqui, but no way through as Van de Ven closed that door. Again, it's going to go one way or the other this game before half time. It's getting a bit more tentative. That's 10 minutes of the first half. Sunderland have had the better of the chances, but Spurs at the moment keeping themselves certainly in it. Very little to separate them in terms of the stats of the game. 3 shots apiece. Possession's just edged by Sunderland. The XG there is a decent difference in, but other than that, Caoimhan tries his cross, blocked and cleared away. That was nicely held up that time by Brobby, who's fed in behind, who's trying to wrestle with his defender. And Mickey Van de Ven's going to be penalised here. And he's going to get a yellow card as well for a challenge on Brian Brobby. And that's now he just shoves him out of the way. Mickey Van de Ven gets penalised for stopping what was a promising attack there for Sunderland, and it's now both Spurs centre-backs on a yellow card, which is a worry, I'm sure. A free kick for Sunderland right around the edge of the box, slightly right side of goal. This sort of situation, it's more about getting it up and over the wall and dipped again. Trying to get it on target from this sort of range is probably the most difficult thing. And you have a wall just 10 yards away from him, and probably about 15 yards, 12 yards away from that is the goal, so it's a very small distance. These types of free kicks have to be precise. As Spurs have a 5-man wall, it looked like there. It looked like Pedro Porro's actually been given a yellow card as well. It's just been announced. So that's now 3 of the Spurs defenders on a yellow. Free kick though for Sunderland. Xhaka looks to be the one that's going to take it. He's the one measured up for it. Lefay's doing kind of like a block and roll at the minute. Standing in front of the ball. They get themselves all set up here, Spurs. Referee just explaining to Luke O'Nien that he can't come any closer to the Spurs wall than he already is. So that rule enforced earlier in the season. Probably no one knew existed. Granit Xhaka to take this free kick down. About 20 yards out, right of goal. And he had a big strike from a similar range. Xhaka, Granit Xhaka, well over the crossbar. And that was anticlimactic, to say the very least. All that build up for that finish. Well, at least someone's finding the goal elsewhere. It is at the City Ground, where Forest have found a leveller in that one. Nico Williams has found the leveller for Nottingham Forest, making up for Murillo's own goal. And it is Forest 1, Aston Villa 1 there at the City Ground, which means Villa would remain 4th. They would be level on points with Man United, but behind them on goal difference. And Forest would find themselves now 2 points clear of Spurs, as it stands. They're currently drawn as well, of the drop zone. Every point in the right direction though for Forest, and they've got themselves on level terms, 1-1. 40 minutes gone here, still goalless between Sunderland and Spurs. Ronaldo. Down the left hand side to Siddiqui, trying to evade the pressure of Porro. He has the help of Lefay, who picks up, trying to poke out Brobbey, but it's a nice step in by Romero, who finds a nice ball to Richarlison down the left. He's got Diarra in chase. Richarlison not given an easy time, but he beats away from Diarra, gets to the byline, breaks into the box and tries to prod one across, but behind for a goal kick. All that hard work and nothing comes of it for Richarlison. All on his own there for Spurs. Maybe just got too excited, tried to take too many steps into the box and then off balance, tried to kick it across goal, ended up kicking it out for a goal kick. Well, most of the Spurs threat has come down that left hand side so far, down Richarlison's side, but Rigg does well to take control of that heavy ball that was passed to him. Mukiele, Xhaka out wide to Rigg. There's Habib Diarra across now to Alderete. Again trying to go a bit more direct into the box, but Spurs able to cut it away and try and break away themselves here with Caoimhan. Having a chase at Alderete there, who stood in his way. Wanted the foul there, Caoimhan, but Alderete stood like a mannequin in his way. Caoimhan just kind of run into him. It's not a foul. It's the second time Randall Caoimhan's gone over against Alderete. The referee fell for it the first time. He didn't that time. 3 minutes to go with the first half, and I don't think Roberto De Zerbi, if I can get my words out, will be too displeased, but I think at the same time I've given Sunderland 1 or 2 really good chances. Spurs, all they'll be thankful for is that they haven't taken them, the home side. But a 0-0 scoreline at half time wouldn't be the worst for Spurs. As I say, away from home, tough place to go. You have to say, as I say, if they need to use their bench, Spurs, they do have options off the bench to use and to take good, get good use out of, as I say. Which you gotta say, some other games, Spurs certainly haven't had those options off the bench. Trying to help out in a tight game, as Sunderland there causing their own problems. Granit Xhaka gives away a cheap corner there. Trying to play it backwards, completely overhit it. Spurs corner. Now we'll tell you about a goal at Sellers Park in a minute, just after this Spurs corner. Deadlock broken there in South London. Pedro Porro is going to take this Spurs corner on the right hand side. Two centre backs along with the 2 centre forwards with a lot of height on their side, all up there. Porro swung in. First contact was a Sunderland ahead. Right to the edge of the box, Gallagher recycles. Wide to Porro again, he swings it in again. This time it's Spurs contact, and this time wide from Dominic Solanke. See the initial delivery, it's well kept alive by Spurs. Swung back out to Porro on this right side, who has the time and space to take the touch and then whip the ball in. Solanke just acrobatically tried to swing one towards goal. Well wide in the end. So, big goal at Sellers Park. Crystal Palace against Newcastle. And it is Newcastle that have taken the lead. Will Osula with the goal there has given Newcastle a huge lead, which would take them into the top half. Newcastle, a win today would see them jump up to 10th. And Will Osula with the goal there has Newcastle in front. As we will have 5 added minutes here in the first half at the Stadium of Light. There's going to be a free kick here. A real painful one for Brobbey by Romero. He's just a bit... Romero he just reminds me of someone who's just a bit mad. He just makes mad decisions, and again comes flying out here against Brian Brobbey and trying to headbutt him to try and win the ball. It's a bit mental. Gives away the free kick, an unnecessary free kick, and it's on a yellow card, Romero. He just needs to be more sensible. And Xhaka to take this free kick. Swung into the edge of the box, headed on, back post, and a big save by Kinski. Big save by the Spurs goalkeeper. Needed to make it. Yeah, see this delivery kind of flicked into the box, and as it drops round the back. Yeah, the strike from Brobbey just back across goal, and a really good save by Antonin Kinski. Long throw into the box again, this from the right side, headed away and further cleared by Spurs. Colomwani with the clearance. Sunderland on the push right before half time. Try and find the opener. Spurs trying their best to keep it at level terms, and Sunderland are going to get a free kick here. Initially the referee was playing advantage, but decides to pull it back. The referee, I think, has played, obviously given away the penalty that wasn't a penalty. You know, everybody makes mistakes, but certainly not trigger happy with the whistle in the first half, the referee. He's let a lot go, and if there is no advantage to be played, he will pull it back. Free kick for Sunderland again. Lefay and Jack over it, as they've been all afternoon so far. Lefay leaves it, it is Xhaka, left footer, away by Richarlison, back post as the strike into the box again was cleared by the sheer number of Spurs bodies to back defensively. And Sunderland do retrieve. 2 minutes to go with the first half, and as I say, Sunderland on the front foot, Spurs trying their best to keep them at bay, and they're going to get a free kick here. Destiny Adogi, bundled over by Alderete. Has been one of them games where Spurs have played like a team scrapping for their lives down the bottom of the table. Very stop-start, lots of set pieces, very physical game, lots of yellow cards. It's been one of them games where I think Sunderland would certainly benefit from being a more open, free-flowing game. Oh, drop ball here, Solanke. Big save in the end by Robin Roofs, but that came about. It's a switch ball from Spurs down the left. Bergvall and it was Richarlison and I think Doggy that link up down the left. And as the ball comes back in from Doggy, just a bit of scrappy defender by Alderete. It drops into the path of Solanke, who has the strike inside the 6-yard area, and a really good save by Roofs to deny him. Now Spurs have a corner. Porro Left side. Right for the delivery. Flicked on at the near post and looped onto the roof of the nets for a goal kick. Reminder as well, half-time will analyse all of the weekend's results so far, what significant results we've seen. West Ham, Arsenal and Liverpool, those games are certainly the key big ones to look at. As the half-time whistle goes at the Stadium of Light, nothing to separate the two teams at the break, but you gotta say Sunderland with the better of the chances in the first half. Spurs slightly hanging on at times. They've had one or two glimpses of goal of their own, but at half-time it is nothing to separate them. It's goalless at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland 0, Spurs 0 at the break. Your one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this, and Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions, and there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal! Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me! That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and battered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. welcome back to Premier League Live halftime at the Stadium of Light. It is Sunderland 0, Spurs 0 at the break. Elsewhere, it is Crystal Palace 0, Newcastle 1 and Forest 1, Villa 1 at the break in those three 2 o'clock games. Huge game later on at Stamford Bridge at 4:30. Chelsea taking on Manchester City. City side looking to capitalise on Arsenal's defeat yesterday and close the gap at the top to 6 points. And City would still have a game in hand and would still have to play Arsenal. So it's all to play for in the title race over the next few weeks. That's come at 4:30. And Chelsea, of course, looking to keep the chase on the top 5 as well. If they win today, Chelsea, they'll go back within a point of Liverpool, but would stay 6th. And we will talk about that and speak about that game and what the title race looks like a little later on. But let's refocus on what's happened already this weekend. So this was, of course, the situation in the relegation battle for Spurs coming into today's game with Sunderland and with Nottingham Forest, of course, playing at the same time. They were 2 points adrift of safety. They have a better goal difference than the rest around them, which means if they win today, Spurs, they will jump up to 15th in the table above Leeds and would get themselves out of this mix. But they haven't had a win in God knows how long. For Spurs, it's been a long, long time for a league win. Their last league victory was against Crystal Palace, a 1-0 victory away from home on the 28th of December. Spurs, it's a long, long time ago, but that shows you the situation they are in. But in terms of the race for Europe, at the other end of the table, and Chelsea, of course, concerned in this, but this is, of course, concerning Aston Villa this afternoon, who at the moment are drawing, which means they would be level on points with Man United. But it is United who lead the way in third. Of course, first and second, and City and Arsenal are not involved in this mix, of course, but United in third, Villa in fourth to start the day. Liverpool, of course, their win yesterday against Fulham put them up to 5th. Of course, they stay in 5th, but a bigger gap between them and Chelsea to 4 points, which Chelsea will try and recover back to 1 with their game against City later. Brentford and Everton in 7th and 8th both drew, and of course Brighton making up the top 9. In 9th, they're only a point behind Brentford and Everton and only 2 behind Chelsea, so it's still all to play for in that mix. In terms of the upcoming games, key games, of course, Man United still to play this weekend, as are Chelsea. They have tough games, both at home though, against Leeds and City respectively, but they've got big games. They play each other, actually, United and Chelsea, next weekend. Of course, United then have Brentford and Liverpool, which are all in the mix here with them. Then they head to Sunderland, host Forest, and then Brighton on the final day. For Villa, as they say, Nottingham Forest away. Then they host Sunderland next week. Fulham, Spurs, Burnley, then Liverpool and City in their final 2 games for Villa. For Liverpool, of course, that 2-0 win against Fulham yesterday, but they've got the Merseyside derby then next weekend, then Palace at home, and then look at these final 4 games. United away, Chelsea at home, Villa away, Brentford are at home for the final 4 games for Liverpool. For Chelsea, City and United back-to-back, both home games though over the next 2 weeks. Brighton away, Forest at home, then Liverpool away, Spurs at home, and then Sunderland away in the final day. And then Brentford, Fulham, then Man United away, West Ham at home, City away, Palace at home, and Liverpool away for them before the end of the season for Brentford. And in terms of the teams further down, who I would still all say are in the race for Europe, because down to Sunderland, who start the day in they started the day in 12th, were on 43 points, which was just 5 off Chelsea, so it's well within the realms of possibility. As Everton, then they've got Liverpool, West Ham, City, Palace, Sunderland, and then Spurs. Brighton in the mix as well. They won this weekend away at Burnley yesterday. 2-0 winners, but they've still got United and Chelsea, Newcastle away as well in the mix there to come in the next few weeks. Bournemouth, with their win against Arsenal yesterday, they're very much in the conversation. They've still got to play Manchester City and Newcastle. And then some tough games as well in there. Leeds, Palace, Fulham and Forest as well. For Fulham, they lost, of course, to Liverpool yesterday, so they've had a bit of a dent to their chances, but still in the mix, but they've still tough games to play. I mean, they've played Brentford, Villa, Arsenal, and then Newcastle as well in the mix. Bournemouth too in there for them. And then, of course, Sunderland. They play Spurs today, but then they've got a trip to Villa Park next week. Then they Forest, Wolves, Man United, Everton and Chelsea, so not easy for them to the end of the season. But there are all these teams in the mix for European football. Who knows who will get those places. A reminder for you again at 4:30, our game of the week. Chelsea, Manchester City is a 4:30 kickoff at Stamford Bridge. And we conclude our weekend tomorrow with Man United against Leeds on Monday night. But the second half at the Stadium of Light between Sunderland and Spurs, where it's goalless at the break, is on the way next. Welcome back to the Stadium of Light. A big second half for Spurs, certainly in trying to get out of the relegation zone. But for Sunderland, maybe try and push towards the top half, which they would occupy if they were to win this afternoon. As we get back underway at the Stadium of Light. As I said, Sunderland, who started the day 12th, they dropped to 13th at the moment with Newcastle winning away at Palace. If they were to turn this around and win Sunderland, they would go up to 46 points. And they would be replacing Newcastle in 10th. If they were to win. For Spurs, as I said, already know what their position could be if they win this afternoon. 15th. And not out of the mix, but a move in the right direction if they were to claim victory today. And what a huge victory it would be. I mean, it would be huge not only for the fact that it's Roberto De Zerbi's first game in charge, but it would be their first win of this calendar year in the league for Spurs. And as I said, a move in the right direction, and maybe it will garner a bit of confidence for them between now and the end of the season. Mukiele was down there with a little bit of pain. He's up and okay, but Spurs will have the throw. Doggy down the line to Richarlison. He held off his marker well. It will be a Spurs throw though. Xhaka had the last touch trying to defend Richarlison there. Another Spurs throw will come. And if and when we get the first goal in this game, that will be crucial. It's been tight, scrappy. Very little to separate the two teams from the first half. The first goal could be monumental in deciding what way this game would go. In the second, Bergvall with a long throw into the box. And got a contact there in the box. Is going to see Sunderland get the free kick. Xhaka went down. And he's the one to get the free kick. And the worry that certainly will be on the mind of Roberto De Zerbi. We mentioned it in the first half. 3 of their 4 defenders, Spurs, are on a yellow card, including both centre-backs in Mickey van der Ven and Christian Romero, along with Pedro Porro, all on yellows. And Bram Brobby's also on a yellow for Sunderland, the only Sunderland player on a yellow, the number 9. Fair challenge on Richarlison by Diarra. Referee did get a close look at that. Decided it was a fair enough challenge. Alderete. Back to Roofs. Under a bit of pressure. Roofs gets it away. Picked up by Richarlison though. Now Gallagher between the lines. He was closed out by Siddiqui. Robbie holding up. Lays it off to Diarra. Bit of space here for Sunderland. Finding Reg. Reg goes for the early cross and cleared away by Porro. As Kolomoani picks it up here for Spurs on the right hand side. Evades a challenge and in the process was brought down by Reinildo. That's going to be a free kick, I think, Spurs. No, Kolomoani didn't seem too happy. Maybe he was wanting a yellow card, but a free kick's been given. Archie Gray. To Conor Gallagher. Inside to Richarlison, who does flick it on to Bergvall, and Bergvall charging into the box, lays it off to Richarlison, who set himself up and couldn't have the last touch. And O'Nien doing the defending, mops it up and wins the goal kick out of it. Yeah, Bergvall and Richarlison linking up really nicely there, and in the end O'Nien with a fabulous challenge. And gets the last touch off Richarlison to win a goal kick. Impeccable bit of defending there from Luke O'Nien, who had his less than strong one in that whole penalty incident. Well, it is a bright sunny spring day in the northeast. Sunderland side, who this kind of weather, this kind of situation brings me back to the opening day when they had a glorious afternoon here at the Stadium of Light on their return to the Premier League. Huge victory against West Ham, a 3-0 result. There was an incredible start to the season for Sunderland, and this whole stadium shook when that first goal went in. Well, eyes are my end there, right on the hour mark, and how far Sunderland have come since that point. Ailey trying to direct low into the box, almost got tripped up there, the ball there. Richarlison back defending, swung back into the back post, and Porro chests it down for the goalkeeper, but the offside flag was up anyway. Back underway in those two other games as well. Actually, they got ahead for their second halves earlier than us. A push there is going to get a free kick for Mickey van der Ven, given away by Habib Diarra. Well, as it stands, Spurs would remain in the bottom three, albeit picking up a point. Point is, as I said earlier, not enough to see them out of the bottom three as it stands. They need victory if they want to escape the relegation zone, at least for this weekend, Spurs. And the Sunderland team, you can see further ahead, 44 points in their current as it stands tally, with this being a draw. Clipping one over the top. Tested down there by a doggy who made the run and wanted a foul. It's just kind of eased off the ball. Ultimately, it's not enough there for a foul. O'Nien just does enough to see a doggy out of the way. It's not a foul. It's a good, strong defending. It would have been harsh if that was given as a free kick, certainly. Another long ball, this time from Sunderland, picked up by Spurs. Second ball by Diarra. Now Enzo Lefebvre. Could this game come down to just the solitary goal to make the difference? There's a long, long way to go, but has that feel about it? Xhaka. Back to Alderete. Across to O'Nien. Alderete again. Xhaka. Nice combinations there as Reinildo got a little loose with his touches, but he's helped out by his captain. Xhaka. Rig coming central. Gets the bounce of the ball. Taken in by Lefebvre. Tried to roll it in behind. Closed out well by the Spurs defence as Xhaka with a scissor challenge wins the ball, and it's stolen away from Bergvall. Nice Siddiqui wide into Diarra. Diarra with the efforts over the crossbar. Better though from Sunderland. First real shot of the second half, and Siddiqui coming wide this time, just allowing Diarra to make that inside run, and picked up that space around the edge of the box on the left side, and ended up having a shot right away there. Habib Diarra, ultimately off target. Got a little bit bullied there, Spurs, in the midfield. Sunderland just out-muscling them in the centre of the field and easing them off the ball on a couple of occasions so far in this second half. Roofs. All out to the right, Mukiele taking it down. Couldn't quite find Brobby, but helped out again by that midfield. Diarra trying to wrestle away some challenges. In the end, loses out and gives away a free kick. Habib Diarra. Now, after going unbeaten for the majority of the season at home, Sunderland have lost each of the last 3 Premier League home games. Haven't lost more league games in a row at the Stadium of Light since 2017 in the Championship. They lost 4 in a row. Last did so in the top flight in October 2013 when they lost 4 in a row at home. Albeit Spurs unbeaten in 15 against Sunderland, but 3 of their last 4 meetings have actually come at Spurs. Haven't won away here, Spurs, since September 2015. Their last trip here was a 0-0 draw, but a 1-0 win came just before that in 2015. And Ryan Mason, set up by Eric Lamela, scored the only goal of that game in the 82nd minute to score the winner for Spurs that day. The Spurs side that finished 3rd ultimately that season. That was the season they were going for the title with Leicester. Sunderland just about stayed in the league against their nearest rivals Newcastle that season by 2 points. Now the tables have turned. And in terms of their away record, Spurs, it's not the most woeful. They've won 4 of their last 7 trips to the Stadium of Light. 3 draws, 2 goalless draws in that. The only score draw between the sides was a 2-2 game in September of 2014. Christian Eriksen scored in that game, and an own goal from Harry Kane scored the Sunderland equaliser in the 2-2 draw. Now, Sunderland free kick here. Xhaka with another pinged effort towards the area. Header by 09, brought down. Brobby was in the mix. Rigg was trying to get himself involved. Spurs scramble it clear of danger. Well, a bit of a bounce that might fall around Caoimhan's way. And the referee is actually going to pull it back here for a free kick to Sunderland. And Randall Caoimhan is a bit bemused as to why that free kick's been given. The Spurs are going to make a triple sub, by the way. João Palhinha, Matisse Tell and Pap Sarr look to be the 3 readying themselves on the bench here. There's another Sunderland free kick here. Going short this time. Feinted down the right channel. Flicked on and well away from goal by Mukiele. That's another poor header from him. That sort of area. This might just trigger Spurs. A triple sub. Excuse me. As they get us going, actually. We'll wait another minute or so. Just relaying some information to the players. That's nicely controlled. Beautiful switch ball here to find Richarlison. Good chance here for Spurs. Richarlison tried to direct it into the far corner, side footing it, but Robin Roos is able to claim it. A great switch ball, and Richarlison again has been a threat down this left all afternoon, but again another effort that the keeper should get to, Robin Roos, and does. Needs to add a real bit of venom in the shot there. Seems to absolutely fiercely effort. It's just an easy one for the goalkeeper to get on the end of. Needs to put his laces through it there, Richarlison. As we about to hit the hour mark, is still goalless. Sunderland moving it nicely, but Spurs, one or two little threats they've had in the second half. Here's Mukiele though for Sunderland. Space as he breaks forward. Mukiele shot deflects and finds the back of the net. It looped up past Kinski, and Sunderland take the lead. Mukiele went roaming, and a deflection from his efforts loops up past the Spurs keeper, who could do nothing but watch it drop into his net, and Sunderland have the breakthrough. Right as Spurs are going to make some substitutions, and a wicked deflection catches Tottenham Hotspur out. 61 minutes, and Spurs are undone. Nordi Mukiele, again he chops inside, not enough aggression off the ball. Spurs just letting him run and run and run, as he does eventually take the shot off with his left foot. It should be right down the throat of the goalkeeper, but it deflects wickedly off a defender and wrong foots Kinski, who had absolutely no chance. Sunderland 1, Spurs 0. The first setback under Roberto De Zerbi. How will Spurs react with less than a half an hour to go and staring down the face of another defeat in the Premier League? That triple change was triggered as that goal was scored. Spurs with 3 big changes. Bergvall, Richarlison and Archie Gray all coming off for Matisse Tell, Papsar and João Palhinha. Long ball over the top here, Brobby to make the chase. Romero trying to shield it to his goalkeeper, and they kind of clash there, Kinski and Romero, as they're trying to do their due diligence to stop Brian Brobby's threats. You see it here, they're both trying to stop him, and yeah, Brobby doesn't do much wrong here. I gotta be honest, it's a horrible collision, but Van de Ven's very accusatory. Brian Brobby does very little wrong. They just kind of collide into each other. It's an unfortunate one. Romero and Kinski are still down, and they've waved across the physios to have a look at them. And of course, no Vicario, we told you at the start of the game, he's not involved. Only Mukiele's got a little bit excited there. Well, they're both being checked up on here, Romero and Kinski. But what a huge goal that is for Sunderland, but what a damaging goal it is for Spurs, because as I said, for long of this game they've kept themselves in it, but Sunderland have always looked the more threatening today. They've always looked like they've got more danger up front. Ultimately it's a defender that scores via deflection. A scrappy game that has delivered a scrappy goal. I probably felt it was a goal like that that would change things in this game. Remember, Spurs, as I said, no Vicario, but Brandon Austin is on the bench for Spurs, their usual third choice, but he is the sub-goalkeeper today. It's Kinski being checked up on, and Brandon Austin. We'll see if he needs to be called upon here. Brandon Austin hasn't played in a competitive game since Elfsborg back in January 2025 in a 3-0 Spurs win in the Europa League. That was the last time he played, Brandon Austin, but I don't know if he will be needed here. Kinski still being checked up on. It looks to be decent signs so far, but from the Sunderland goal again, I mean, from Spurs' point of view, it's too easy, really, for Mukiele to chop inside and to have a free run to the edge of the box, and it's kind of the whole idea of it when it rains it pours for Spurs, and that type of goal to concede after they've done well against Sunderland at times today. But you got to say, Sunderland being the better team, it's certainly an attack. Sometimes you get a bit of luck going your way, and that reverts Spurs back to 30 points and 2 adrift of safety, and 3 adrift of Nottingham Forest and Leeds. Forest are currently drawn with Villa, and Leeds here yet to play. It is a worry. It is a worry. Quick look around the ground. It is still 1-1 at the City Ground between Forest and Villa, and still 1-0 to Newcastle away at Crystal Palace. Those two not in the mix of relegation threatened teams, Palace and Newcastle, but the Newcastle win was taking them into the top half before Sunderland took the lead. Sunderland are now taking 10th spot, just ahead of Newcastle on a solitary point ahead of them, and Sunderland only behind Brighton in 9th on goal difference if they win this. As we see the incident again, and the clash between the two players, kind of the arms of Romero just kind of collides into the head of Antonin Kinski, and Kinski getting a bit of a strapping on his head. There's blood in his hair, so it certainly drew blood from the Spurs goalkeeper. It's good to see Romero back to his feet again after he was being checked up on. So he's up and okay, and Kinski being helped out here, patched up, and looks like he will be able to continue as well in a minute or so. It's been quite a few minutes we've been stopped here. Actually, making sure the strapping is secured onto the head, so they're being checked up as we get scenes from Stamford Bridge, where Man City are arriving, and they know they have a huge opportunity today. City win and you're well in the mix for the title. They will be 6 points behind Arsenal if they win today, City, with a game in hand and still to play. Arsenal, they win all of their games between now and the end of the season, and they will be champions, City. That is how it stands. Which is a crazy thing to say, that City are well in with a chance of winning the title after it's looked like it's been Arsenal's all season. Albeit they still have a 9-point lead. There's those games in hand that just add a little bit of an asterisk to that 9-point lead. Well, Christian Romero, we said he's up on his feet and okay, but he's clearly not okay. And he's clearly upset here. He seems quite upset, Christian Romero, which is never a good sign when a player is clearly emotional. Whatever that means for Christian Romero. You gotta say, you know, Christian Romero's had a tough old last season or two for Spurs. He's been bogged down with injuries of his own, but he's been the one that's been there and he's captained this team all season. That armband being replaced. And Romero's departure here. Kevin Danzo's coming on in his place. Clearly upset Christian Romero. Well, it's not an injury Spurs need to have at this point of the season. And they need all their best players, need all the leaders. And nice to see that Antonin Kinski's up and okay. He might have a bit of a shade of red in his hair now, but he's got strapped up. He's got a bandana looking strapping on. Anyway, good to see that both are okay from that collision at the very least. And we're back underway. Well, Spurs this season, when they've conceded first, 18 games they've conceded first this season, and they have went on to win none of them. 6 draws, 12 defeats from 18 games where they've conceded first. Will that trend continue? And will there be a bit of fighting spirit in this Roberto De Zerbi Spurs side? As Reinildo has to defend against Kolo Muani there, puts it behind for the corner. 20 minutes till 90, and then whatever added time we will have, it's quite an extensive additional time because of that injury stoppage to Romero and Kinski to make sure they were okay after their collision. But a corner here for Spurs in a dangerous position. Right-footed delivery, swung deep. Tell plucks it out of the air into control, but cleaned away at first glance by Rigg. It's nice Sunderland have something to hold on to as well. They've got a lead. They don't like to give them up very often, though, do Sunderland. Only dropped 8 points from winning positions this season, which for a newly promoted side is quite remarkable. How strong they've been when they do go in front, Sunderland, and one of the best defences in the league this season in terms of just keeping goals out. I mean, it's the basic nature of a defence, but they've been so strong at just holding teams, making it tough for their opponents all season. Just 36 goals they've conceded all season, Sunderland. Only 3 sides have either the same or a better defensive record in terms of goals conceded. Palace had a better record coming into the game. They've conceded against Newcastle, which means they're on 36 conceded, and only the top 2 have conceded now less than Sunderland this season. Arsenal and Manchester City on 24 and 28 respectively, which is incredible when you consider that they're a newly promoted side. As Matisse Tell runs into trouble in Mukiele. Xhaka strides away with the ball here as he was brought down. That's going to be a free kick. Sunderland looking for their 8th home win of the season as well. If they are on to win this one, that will be 8 wins out of 16 home games. Only the Premier League's top 5 teams in the table would have a better home record than Sunderland in terms of points gathered at home this season. Liverpool, Aston Villa, Man United, Man City and Arsenal. The teams having picked up more points at home than Sunderland this season if they were to win this. Alderete looking for Brobby in behind, and that one just evaded the centre forward. Kinski was able to take control of that situation. Given away by Tell. Mukiele and Rigg there battling. But Spurs do retrieve the ball. Palhinha back to Van de Ven. Kinski out to Porro down the right side, flicked over the top of the defence, but O'Nine's tracking back and hooks that one up the field. Caoimhan trying to evade pressure, but Xhaka there to intercept. That's nice play down the left there by Diarra and Brobbey. Diarra back across goal, evaded by one, and Kinski is there to clean it up. Sunderland on the move there, and we're away. See it again here, really good combination play down the left hand side again by Sunderland. Nice little 1-2. Diarra charges through, he lays it off, and a fabulous little challenge by Destiny Adogi. Stop the ball, getting on to Diarra in the middle. 15 to go of normal time. Here's Matisse Tell, swings one in, the header is on, and into the hands of Roofs off the head of Solanke. He's in the main threat of Spurs up front. Two big chances for him today. For Dominic Solanke there. And we saw Rigg getting a yellow card there for a challenge on Van de Ven a moment or two ago, so he's got a yellow card, Chris Rigg. Noah Siddiqui out to the left hand side it comes. Lefay back to Reynildo. Alderete to Luke O'Nine. Mukiele there. Last touch off Solanke will be a throw to Sunderland. Mukiele will take this throw in. Down the line, gives it right back to Adogi, but his ball up the field is intercepted by Alderete. Both sides back and forth between the two teams here. Gallagher's takedown was blocked away by Xhaka, and Granit laid it off, and Enzo Lefay was taken down by Conor Gallagher. Well, Spurs remain winless in 13 Premier League games, drawn 5 and lost 8. Only once in their league history have they had a longer run without victory. They went 16 matches winless from December 1934 to April 1935. 90 years ago. So they're on a generational winless run, Spurs. More than a generation, a lifetime winless run. No one alive today's seen that run, I don't think. Anyway, here comes Sunderland, breaking in behind. Too much on it from Habib Diarra, and Brian Brobbey didn't ultimately set himself up well for that through ball. Made the wrong decision. Game's here for Sunderland if they want to take it. The more chances they create without taking them, more confidence Spurs can garner. They maybe try and rescue something out of this game. Something's better than nothing when it comes to points at the bottom of the table. I'm sure Nottingham Forest know that at the moment. They're currently drawing with Aston Villa 1-1, and it's just changed at Selhurst Park, where Newcastle were leading by a goal to nil. Well, they're not leading anymore. It is 1-1. Crystal Palace have found a leveller. So it is Old Square there at Selhurst Park. I don't have any news on the goal scorer for you, but actually I do now. Jean-Philippe Mateta has found the equaliser for Crystal Palace on the 80th minute. And with 10 minutes to go there at Selhurst Park, it's Crystal Palace 1, Newcastle United 1. Same scoreline at the City Ground as well, and here at the Stadium of Light, Sunderland leading by a goal to nil against Spurs. Xhaka prodded through. Brobby trying to lay it off to Diarra. Just seen out by Van de Ven, who couldn't keep it in play. And it will be a Sunderland throw. Mickey Van de Ven, who has the captain's armband after Romero went off. So, the de facto Spurs captain, Mickey Van de Ven. Sunderland with a chance for another long throw here. Just over 10 minutes to go. Plus the additional time, of course, which there will be plenty. Mukiele whips in. Flicked on at the front post. Punched away by Kinski. Taken on the volley by Diarra. Then flicked on by O'Nien. Not away yet, as Spurs do take it down and clear, but only as far as Siddiqui. Lovely little 1-2s. Finds Mukiele trying the cross. Blocked by a Dougie. Corner to Sunderland. Or maybe it's going to go for a throw, actually. Yeah, they dropped the other side of the flag, it looked like. So a throw in just. Got a right cheer from the crowd. Launched in from the throw in. Cleared away after one or two chances there by Spurs, one or two attempts. All the way back for Sunderland to Robin Roofs. Finds Xhaka, who tries to go direct over the top. Beautiful ball, lovely touch. Laid off here. Chance for Rigg. Shot charged down in the area by Van de Ven. Spurs hanging on at 1-0 here. Sunderland trying to push for two. Try and put this game to bed late, but Spurs just doing enough, as Sunderland going to go to their bench for the first time this afternoon. Trey Hume, and looks like Chemsdean Talby are is also coming on. And Nordi Mukiele and Chris Rigg going to be replaced. Two key players. And Nordi Mukiele, of course, the key touch, the key strike that deflected for the Sunderland goal. At the moment would be delivering 3 points for the home team. So a double substitution there for the home side. Chemsdean Talby replacing Chris Rigg, and Trey Hume replacing Nordi Mukiele. Straight swaps there. Another long throw in coming here for Sunderland, it looks like. Another 9 launch. Oh, flicked on by Spurs. Could have went anywhere, but Kinski was there. Alert. Made no trouble of it. Gallagher under pressure. Gets it away just in the nick of time. Down the line it goes. To the right here for Spurs. Nice play by Colomawani. Brought down in the box. He said it was a foul. Referee again sees no issue, as Sunderland can clear. He's down quite a lot today, Rando Colomawani. He picks it up here in the half space. Closed out this time by Reynildo. Picked up by Xhaka. Deep. 9 with the launch. Sorry, Eldoretti actually with the launch. Brobby trying to evade the challenges of Danzo. Comfortably taken down by Talby to recycle for Sunderland. Seems like they've got game management under control here, Sunderland. They know how to hang on to this type of lead. Spurs don't have much successful experience this season of coming from behind to pick up much points. That's a lovely touch by Trey Hume. Finds Talby. Cross was behind Brian Brobby. Again, good play by Sunderland as the ball drops here for Rando Colomawani up against Reynildo. A challenge as well. Reynildo, fabulous defending, and Alderete sees it away. Reverse ball into midfield. Lovely little jink there from Siddiqui. Undercooked the pass to Talby though. Spurs retrieve. Caoimhan. Udogie swings one towards the box, but loops behind for a goal kick. And Spurs going to make another substitution. It's going to be their 5th and final. It's going to see Xavi Simons replace Conor Gallagher. So that's all 5 subs for Spurs used. They made a triple sub and then they had to bring off Christian Romero just after that, so that was 4. And now Xavi Simons on for Conor Gallagher. Just over 5 minutes of normal time to go, plus the additional. Now Sunderland have won 2 of their last 3 Premier League games. They lost the other. That's as many wins as they had in their previous 12 games before that. Could win back-to-back league matches for only the 2nd time this season. And the last time they did that, Sunderland, was back in October. At the moment, they're on course for back-to-back league victories. Must beat Newcastle last time out. Trying to beat Spurs here. As I said, that would be just 1 defeat in their last 5 for Sunderland if they were to win this, or draw it obviously. And that would be that defeat to Brighton here. 1-0 Brighton win would be the only blemish in that league record. As I said, games to come. They've Villa away next weekend, then Forest, then Wolves, Man United, Everton, and then Chelsea. So a mixed bag there for Sunderland. But you certainly look at all those fixtures and think they have a chance in any of those games to pick up points and get some good results to end the season strong. And maybe, who knows, have an outside shout at European football. That's not out of the realms of possibility. Swung ball in by Caoimhan, back post, as it was probably shoved down, wanting a penalty. Siddiqui was the one launching himself around the back there, but the referee said no. Just given a goal kick, the referee, but I'm sure they'll check it VAR just to make sure, but I don't know if there's enough contact. Let's have to see it again. Hume's delivery. It's a little soft from Danzo, really. It's not much. And he kind of threw himself down there. Brian Brobby, it's not a penalty. Yeah, not enough. Yeah, it's very soft. Very, very soft. Done really well in the middle, Sunderland, in these last 15 minutes. Taking full control as Brobby was eased out of the way there. Nicely won back though by Reinildo, who's come alive in the last 10 minutes. Here is Reinildo. Run into trouble. Calls a handball though. Reinildo wins it back. Referee said he got the ball. And winning it back. Here's Siddiqui. Into Diarra. Back to Siddiqui. Across it comes. Right across the face of goal. And they scramble it away, Spurs. Someone was throwing themselves at that. It could have been 2. Massive chance. Again, Spurs hanging on everything they've got now, and Udogie was there to just scramble it clear, but what could have been again for Sunderland with another big chance. Another call of handball from the home crowd, a bit more hopeful that time I think than anything else. But again, Sunderland keen in the challenges, win it back, and a ball played through to Brobby, who actually backheeled it to Talby, who was beaten to it by Udogie. Here's Simons. Nice play. Doggy finding it out wide to Tell. Tell lifting it deep. Over the head of Reynildo. Behind for the goal kick. Caoimhan was the target, but not finding him. So we see this chance for Sunderland again. Chemsdin Talby doesn't take the risk. He's the one that should be pouncing in on Destiny Adoggy there at the back post. He actually just hangs back, and if he's pouncing, he could have got a chance to make it 2-0 and put the game to bed. They've had huge chances, Sunderland, but they have the lead, and all they care about is trying to keep that, carry it home, get that victory. How long will we add it on? 90 minutes are up. The answer to that question is 11 minutes of added time. Told you there would be a lot of added time because of the injury stoppage for Kinski and Romero. 11 minutes is a lot of time, and a lot can still happen. Spurs only 1-0 down. Still a lot of this game to play. Not a very energetic looking Spurs travelling crowd. From North London to the North East. Same troubles as Tell was brought down there, high up the field. Trey Hume, the one committing the foul, and Trey Hume getting a yellow card. Reminder for you, Chelsea against Manchester City is at 4:30 this afternoon, 4:30 kickoff from Stamford Bridge. Looking forward to that game in around about 40 minutes time. Free kick then for Spurs. Pedro Porro over it, left hand side, a minute and a half into 11 added minutes here at the Stadium of Light. Everybody seemingly back here for Sunderland. Porro's swing delivery off the hands of Roofs and over the top for a corner. Such whip on that from Pedro Porro, and it could have caught him off his line there. Roofs, who got two hands to it and did really well in the circumstances. Puts it behind for the corner. The swerve and the spin on that cross. Porro, another delivery, this time from a corner. Out swinger it is, and headed away by Reynildo, as Danza was ready to pounce in the mix. It will be Danzo who will try and go long here, it looks like. Launches into the box, does Danzo. Headed away at the near post. Further cleared by Talby. Probably trying to make himself a problem. Xavi Simons is evading that trouble well, as Palhinha gives it back to a doggy. He's the last man for Spurs. Here's Papsar. Porro lifting it out to the left channel, looking for Tell. Tell chesting down. Human his way. Tell chops onto his right foot. Still going as Matisse Tell. He swings it into the box. And cleared away by Luke O'Nine. Porro out to the right. All Spurs at the minute. Caoimhan. Porro's deep delivery. Stayed in. Danzo heads it back across. A doggy. Tell. Wide to Destiny Adoggy. Cuts it back across the area. And a sliding defensive challenge from Siddiqui helps out to try and clear. Still Spurs come right back at them. Palhinha challenged by Reynildo and Lefay, and Reynildo was brought down. So that's going to be a free kick. 4 minutes down of the 11 added. Final whistle gone at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest have hung on for a point against Aston Villa. A Villa side who could have went third today with a win. Well, they have just drawn, and it's advantage Man United in third when they play tomorrow. And a big point for Forest to take themselves further away from the relegation zone, albeit only 3 points clear with a draw. But a big goal from Nico Williams in that first half to tie things up. 1-1 it finished there. And a massive goal at Sellers Park to tell you about, where it looks like everything has swung in the favour of Palace. They now lead by 2-1, and Jean-Philippe Mateta, with a 94th minute penalty of 95 added minutes, has seemingly won it for Crystal Palace. A massive 3 points it would be for them. They would go above Newcastle in the table and catapult themselves into an outside chance of Europe for Crystal Palace. They lead by 2-1 in the dying embers. Here though, at the Stadium of Light, still about half of the added time to go, and Sunderland lead by 1-0. That deflected effort from Nordi Mukiele, finding its way past Antonin Kinski in the Spurs goal, is what is the difference? Can Spurs clamber at something? The relegation battle, I said earlier, something is better than nothing. When you're at the bottom, as the referee's actually going to play advantage here, as there was a foul on a Sunderland player, but they didn't actually do much with that advantage. Ready to play for a Spurs throw. But as I say, at the bottom, with Forest now picking up points, West Ham winning this weekend, Spurs can't afford to keep losing. They need something to show for their fight to try and stay in the Premier League. They lose today, and the momentum is definitely swung in there against them. Porro with a fired effort there over the crossbar. I think Robin Roofs actually made contact to that as well. See it here, just popping it around the edge of the area, Spurs, as they've been doing the whole of the added time. Still a 1-2 between Udogie and Porro. He just drops for Porro here. He just rifles it towards goal, and Robin Roofs makes a save. Massive save from the Sunderland keeper. Porro deliver this corner. Short. 1-2 with Simons, and as he swung it back in, Pedro Porro. That one needed no help to see it over the crossbar. Goal kick. And Sunderland will take no time in taking that goal kick. And they will also delay it with a substitution here. Going to see the replacement of Brian Brobby. He's put in one hell of a shift today, Brian Brobby. Maybe not the goal or the key involvements he would want to have, but he certainly used his body well and certainly made a nuisance of himself. And Wilson Isidore is coming on to replace him here late on. 3.5 minutes of 11 added to go. Nervy Spurs fans watch on as they saw their team this weekend for the first time in 17 years, for the first time in many young Spurs fans' lives, find themselves in the bottom three. And now they're staring down the barrel of another defeat, their 16th of the season, and a defeat that could see them quite comfortably in the relegation zone at the end of this weekend, and in so much danger. So much danger. Final whistle's gone at Sellers Park. A huge victory for Crystal Palace. 2-1 winners against Newcastle, coming from behind to win that one, did Palace. So Palace winners. Forest and Villa drawing 1-1. Sunderland currently winning here at the Stadium of Light as the clock continues to tick down and Spurs running out of time. As it stands, Spurs would be 18th, two clear of safety, two adrift of safety, shall I say, of West Ham, who beat Wolves 4-0 on Friday night, Forest, who've drawn, and Leeds, who still have to play, all with point advantages over Spurs. Unless they can turn this around completely, Spurs, in 2 minutes. That's where they'll find themselves, 18th. Come the next time they play, which is next Saturday evening against Brighton, when his first home game in charge, Roberto De Zerbi, will be against his former team in Brighton. And they have Wolves away, Villa away, Leeds at home, Chelsea away and Everton at home before the end of the season. Where will they pick up those points that they so desperately need, Spurs, to stay in the Premier League? Caoimhan swung in from the right, away by 09, and Lefay doesn't panic. Isidore doesn't panic either. They're having fun here, Sunderland, but they've given it away cheaply. And Caoimhan's cross over the head of Tell there. A doggy keeps it alive. Sarr, Simons into the 101st minute here. Last minute of 11 added. Caoimhan. Cut back, Porro's delivery. Not fully cleared that time, and there's actually going to be a free kick for Sunderland. Alderete dragged down by Solanke. Free kick to Sunderland, and that might just call to an end of this game. Well, it is, if he was and needed to be, shown firsthand what it's like this season for Spurs. Well, Roberto De Zerbi's been given a crash course this afternoon of what Spurs managers have had to go through today. Injuries, mistakes, and a lack of cutting edge up the field. All of that has combined to what has been a disastrous 32 games in the Premier League for Spurs this season. They're going to go 14 without a win and still winless in 2026 after almost 3.5 months of the year. Move ball up the field. It's out for a Spurs throw, though. 30 seconds over the 101 minutes, and there's the final whistle. Referee blows an end to a game that has been scrappy all the way through, and ultimately the goal that wins it for Sunderland wasn't the most sweetest of strikes, wasn't the most beautiful goals, but again it's another nail in the Spurs coffin this season. They've not got many opportunities left to save themselves. 6 games between them and the drop, and they're 18th Spurs, and 2 points of Chelsea, of course, who still have to play, but within a point of 7th place Brentford. And as I said, Sunderland might not count themselves out of a European fight between now and the end of the season. Massive goal, massive win, but a disastrous defeat again for Spurs. Their 16th defeat of the season, and they remain in the bottom 3. Final score from the Stadium of Light in our early game this afternoon. It's finished Sunderland 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0. And confirmation of those 3 early games: Crystal Palace 2, Newcastle 1, Forest 1, Villa 1, and Sunderland 1, Spurs 0. Still to come, a huge game at Stamford Bridge. Manchester City look to capitalise on Arsenal's misfortunes yesterday, but will Chelsea bounce back from 4 defeats in a row to make it a difficult day for City as well? We'll find out. That's coming up very shortly.